In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to A Lot to Say, the podcast where we talk about it all. A Lot to Say is for us. It's for the ones with no filter, the ones whose face said it all, or the ones that thought it, but it's especially for the ones that said it. This show is to make us feel empowered, to love ourselves radically, and to transform our communities at the same time. We'll talk about it all, from personal growth to social justice to navigating this thing called adulting. So grab a drink, find a cozy spot, and welcome to A Lot to Say. Hey y'all, welcome to the very first episode of A Lot to Say, the podcast. Since we're just getting started, I thought I would take a moment to introduce myself, just so that you know who you'll be sitting and hanging out with each week. I am Teryn Denae, Teryn Shipman, and I'm a Southern Black girl with a lot to say. Formerly, I have a background in political science, in race and gender studies, and a little bit of production. So think choreography, think costume design, and think setting up for events, rallies, things like that. I've also spent a lot of time writing and ranting about the intersection of both race and gender on a global scale. But beyond all of that, I am a big believer in the power of the tongue. And so through this podcast, I'm wanting to not only inspire you to use your voice and to uplift yourself, but to transform your communities. But I'm also really doing this to push myself. If I am a believer that my tongue and my words are powerful, then I have to use them in a way that is, impactful, not just for myself, but for my community. And so that's what I hope to do on this podcast. A lot to say. Um, Welcome. Let's get this thing started. Do, 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 do. All right. Now that we have gotten introductions out the way, I want to dive into our first segment, which is just a little icebreaker. And I don't know if y'all have seen Brown Sugar when it's like, when did you fall in love with hip hop? But this is like my number one question that I have to ask y'all. When did you know that you had a lot to say? Think about that for a second. Think about it. Think about it. I'll say for me, I knew I had a lot to say because, I mean, from a very early age, I was always getting in trouble at school for talking a lot. I honestly would like to think that I have the gift of gab. I can make connections with people. I like to make a little joke here and there. Um, I thought that was a good thing. But I always got like notes sent home in my agenda. My mom always got called. It was the worst. It was the worst. And honestly, I am still learning how to fine tune my mouth. And while that was a good thing that I learned early on, that I had a lot to say, I was able to use that to kick off my political career in the fifth grade, where I ran and won for class president. It was great. Love that for me. But again, I was still like getting my mom called and getting notes sent home and like punishments for me. I love clothes. I love a good look, always have. My mom would make me wear things like all gray jogging suits. And to me, like that just screams lifeless, and it always has. And so yeah, that's when I knew I had a lot to say. Let me know over on any of the social media platforms. When did you know that you had a lot to say? Mm, mm, mm. So I want to introduce you all to a recurring segment. It's something that I am really passionate about. And honestly, it was really, really requested when I asked people what types of topics and things they wanted to hear on the podcast. And so this segment is called Mindful Moments. I am a huge advocate for taking care of our mental health. I think it's something that we have to prioritize, just like we do our physical health, sometimes, if not more. Um, and so each episode, I'll share a quick mindful moment with you all that you can incorporate into your day. Try practicing it from one episode to the next. So one week to the next, see how you like it, see how you like to integrate it into your day. Let me know how you're integrating it. I would love to know what's working for you. But yeah, so today's exercise, today's mindful moment, we are going to talk about grounding. And we're going to use a simple technique which helps you stay present and calm when you're feeling overwhelmed. And so I want to just have you take a second. Okay, we're going to take some deep breaths. You're going to inhale. This is my inhale signal. You're going to hold that breath. Okay, you're going to exhale. And it's really good if you could let out an audible noise when you exhale. So let's do that. Hold it and exhale. I know that probably sounds really windy. So try that last one on your own. You're going to inhale, hold it, and exhale. Okay. So with this grounding exercise, I want you to hold up your hand, 5 fingers. All right. You're going to take it, and I'm reading my little grounding thing here. I have notes. I love a note. If you know me, you know I love a note. Bear with me. It'll get better with time, but that's where we're at right now. 5 fingers. 1. You're going to start with 5 things that you can see around you. Okay. So whether that's trees, whether that's your room, what are 5 things that you can see around you? Okay. What are 4 things that you can touch? All right. So like my feet are touching my house shoes right now. Okay. Let's see. My butt is touching this chair. Like that is really being mindful about things that I can feel and things that are touching me right now. All right. Then you want to do 3 things that you can hear. So I can hear my air conditioning unit that hopefully is not too disturbing to you all. Again, first episode, we're going to see and work out the kinks. Love that. Yes. Thank you for grace. Then you're going to name 2 things that you can smell. I'm a candle girl, so I have some candles lit, and I can smell those things. And then what's 1 thing that you can taste? Okay. So again, hold up that 5. What can you see? What can you touch? What do you hear? What do you smell? And what do you taste? So that grounding exercise is a great way to just kind of bring your focus back to the present moment and to calm your mind. I mean, you're literally thinking about things that you can hear and feel. And if anything like that will really bring you back to yourself and ground you. Just this past weekend, my parents and I vacationed. Sorry, guys. Come here. Go ahead and meet Miss Truth, who wants to bark. So I'm going to pick her up so that she doesn't, and we can keep it going. But this weekend, my parents and I, we vacationed in Atlantic City just for like a little getaway, just to kind of see each other, spend some time. And honestly, I struggled with detaching and disconnecting from all of my responsibilities. I am a chronic overthinker. And so my mommy had to constantly remind me and my dad to like be present, to focus on what we're doing right then. And after a few gentle and some not so gentle reminders, okay, we were able to really fully immerse ourselves in, each other and in the moment, and highly suggested. Sometimes you need a gentle nudge, or not so gentle nudge, just to kind of remind you to like enjoy what you're doing right now, enjoy where you are right now, and live in that. Okay. So next time you're feeling stressed, try out try out that grounding exercise and let me know how it works for you. Do it again. So we are going to dive into our next segment. This one is honestly a favorite of mine, and it's called Politically Speaking. This is where we'll discuss our current events and issues that are shaping our world and our culture. As someone with not only a poli sci background, okay, I'm also a popular culture connoisseur, or as I personally have proclaimed myself, I'm an investigative journalist like Ida B. Wells Barnett. And I want us to get the information. I want us to tell the truth and be truth tellers. But I also want like that information to be accessible and digestible and easy to learn and understand. So that is all things politically speaking. Get into it. Get into it. Okay. Okay. And Teryn, over to you. This week on Politically Speaking, the Democratic National Conviction. Please, please, please. This week on Politically Speaking, the Democratic National Convention kicked off last night in Chicago. Speakers from Hillary Clinton, Jasmine Crockett, and even a rare appearance by Jesse Jackson was made, and that was just on night one. Joe Biden received an outpour of support and praise for his decision to pass the torch on to Kamala Harris, whose presidential campaign is already making history. With the upcoming election, it's important that we not only exercise our right to vote, but that we encourage others to do the same. We'll dive deeper into understanding the ballot in future episodes, but for now, I want to remind you that your voice matters and so does your vote. To check your voter registration or to register to vote, you can visit IToldYaSo.org and use our voter registration tool powered by vote.org. And now for our final segment for today's episode 1 of A Lot to Say, the podcast. I want to introduce to you all Radical Readz. In this part of the show, I'll share a book, an article, or a piece of writing that really resonated with me, especially if it's something that like challenged my thinking or something that was like confirmation for me. I want to share it with you all, and you all can share with me your Radical Readz. I'll also be inviting guests on for future episodes so that they can share their Radical Readz. But let me know over on any of the social media platforms what you're reading, what articles you're into right now, what books I should get into, what's your favorite genre of books. Like, let me know all those things over on social media. Okay. Where you was at? You was upstairs? Come on. Thanks, y'all, so much for tuning in to the very first episode of A Lot to Say. I am super excited for this journey. And thank you for giving me grace on this. Like, I know that there were a lot of kinks. I know that there are a lot of imperfections in this. And honestly, I'm trying to lean into that because like focusing on wanting this grand production and wanting everything to be like perfect was really stopping me. It was really creating a lot of fear and creating a lot of doubt and a lot of comparison. And I am freeing myself of all of that. Okay, that's what we are freeing ourselves. And so I can't wait to continue this journey and to keep these conversations going with you all. If you like today's episode, make sure that you subscribe. Highly recommend that you share with a friend. And until next time, this has been A Lot to Say with your host, Teryn Denae. Bye, y'all.
Who said it, okay? This show is to make us feel empowered, to love ourselves radically, and to transform our communities at the same time. We'll talk about it all, from personal growth to social justice, and navigating this wild journey called adulting. So grab it. Disrespectful, she's yawning. So grab a drink, find a cozy spot.